And then, of course, the last one would be my asset core. And this would be, I've gone out there, I've done a discovery, I've pushed the agent, and so now I'm able to see quickly all the devices that have my asset core agent installed. And again, these would be machines that I can do further asset management to, some of those daily tasks. Okay, so as we're speaking about daily tasks, what I'm going to do is dig in and look at one specific machine. And so here on the left, I'm under my device groups, this English directory, and so that's another point to make. With Asset Core, I'm able to import an existing Active Directory structure, and why that's critical is I don't have to recreate groups inside of Asset Core. I can utilize my existing directory structure to target devices to receive updates. You don't have to recreate the wheel in that sense. Here I'm going and looking at the financial asset management for my active demo machines. So here I'm going under the Hive for active demo machines, and I can see I have 3, but holistically I can see really quickly those 3 devices are in a deployed status. I can see the asset owner, I can see the location for those devices, etc. Again, all financial asset information. If I'm going to dig in on one, so we're going to cherry pick this particular machine. Let me just scroll down a little bit. And we can see now at this point day-to-day actions that we may want to take on that device. So the remote control, I alluded to this in the PowerPoint, and this is going to have to do with maybe I need to do a desktop takeover for that machine. So my agent from their machine simply hit that machine and do the remote control. So just by way of a quick example, it's a remote control. We get the desktop, and then we can perform whatever action we need. Some people use this as a training mechanism, but again, it's if you have something in your environment today that allows you to do the desktop takeover, that's essentially what this remote control is allowing. Here, let me just close this out. Some of the other functions here, the direct access, but I'm going to dig in and look at inventory. So I can see quickly, and we saw this from the service core ticket, the hardware for this particular box. Again, at the very top, I'm going to get some summary information, but I also have some pretty granular hardware information. I'll hit the software tab, and I can see those applications that have registered with add and remove programs. I can also see everything that's installed. So even those that have not installed with add and remove, its MSIs, its executables, any piece basically of software on that box is going to be represented in the all category. Sometimes web browsers are good to know. I know in our environment there are several websites we can hit. If I bring it up in Internet Explorer, I may have full functionality. If I try to bring it up in Chrome, there may be a couple aspects different just because the developers tune that, if you will, to Internet Explorer. But your technician at this point would quickly be able to see what browsers are installed in the box and then troubleshoot accordingly. A couple other tabs here. Security has to do with, do they have antivirus installed? Is the firewall enabled? And then the compliance tab. The nice thing about the compliance, we provide a couple policies out of the box. Is anti-spyware installed? Has it been updated within the last 7 days? But at the bottom, you'll notice you can extend that out. There's a couple other things here like patches. Do they have the latest critical Windows 7 patches? That may be a part of your compliance rule. So those things you're going to be able to see as well. One last thing to hit on this specific asset, I'm going into the financial asset management. And this first tab are my parameters. This is just a table. I'm double clicking. I'm into now any of the financial asset information on that asset. So I can see the status, and again, you can stage this list or seed this list with the statuses that are relevant in your environment. But this one I can see deployed. I can see device information, purchase information, the warranty and support. I'm scooting down just a bit. Maybe service start dates, the support expiration date, the warranty expiration date. And the good thing about these fields, those now become things that I can run reports against. And out of the box, you're going to get some canned reports. Cost, purchase versus lease cost. So again, all financial data stored on each of your assets. And this can be for assets that have my agent as well as those assets that maybe do not have my agent on them. Okay, so here let me just hit cancel. I'm hitting the attached devices. I can see relationships, so I can see a printer is attached to this specific asset. I can add additional children if I deem that necessary. And then the last tab is the attachment. So here I can see we've attached a specific invoice, but again, if you need to add other attachments, you're going to be able to do that. Okay, so here let me just collapse that down because that kind of wraps up my inventory, the types that I can run, what it looks like in the console, and then when we drill in and look at one specific asset, how detailed that inventory is. And again, that's the information that's made available to me in Service Core. So with that, let's move on to packages. Now, understand with Asset Core, there are many functions that I'm going to be able to do. We're just hitting on a few of them. We will have additional webinars later in the month and on into next month that dig in on some other aspects like software compliance and client deployment. But here I'll talk about the packages. So again, we're going to have a wizard for this. I'm going to jump up to the top and just grab the wizards from this point of view as opposed to going back to that home screen. And we're going to do the package creation. So with package creation, there's really only one thing that you need to do, and that's know where that file is that you need to distribute. Sometimes you can get that right from the manufacturer in the form of an MSI. Sometimes it's in the form of an executable. Down here at the bottom, you'll see it's asking me for the package type. I'm just going to say custom, and I'm going to move into next. Again, we're going to leave a few of these just basic so we can get through most of this demonstration. So we'll say it's a new package as opposed to giving it the actual name. This destination path is where are we going on the target machine? Where do you want me to drop this file? So I'll just say software directory. What's my run command? So here I'm going to go out and now for the software that we're going to distribute, so we'll grab this certain executable right here. And of course, because we dropped it in the SW directory, we'll make it as such. So that's my run command down there on the endpoint. And again, for this executable, sometimes people want them to be silent, suppress EULAs, and those type of actions. You would need to get those switches from your vendor and just attach them to this run command. I'm going to hit next. Here we're going to add the file. So again, this is going to be distributed down to that endpoint. So we'll just grab the file. You can see here it's adding it. And I got my size, so that looks valid. We're going to say next. And you'll notice here it's just stepping me through the process. So again, I don't have to be an expert. I just simply need to answer a few questions. And here we're going to publish it to my master server. So we'll hit finish. Now, as a part, that was just me building it. Now, if I wanted to distribute it or make that available into Service Core, then I would walk through creating this operational rule. So what I'm going to do is say yes. And then, of course, the deploy would be one more additional wizard. But again, it's kind of walking me through the whole process, which is nice when we think about all the other jobs that may be in front of us. So here's the critical point. My deployment from, and I'm going to say make this available in my integrated solutions. When I do that, this is now available to me in Service Core. So I don't have to swivel out of Service Core to deploy this specific software. It's going to be made available to me right there. Here I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And then here I have some steps. I can see really that first step is just installing the package. And if I want to leave it at that, I can. But I'm going to bring up some of the operational rules. You can see how exhaustive this list is. And the only thing I'm really going to do at this point is just kind of clean up what I dropped down on the endpoint. So I'm going to directory and file handling. But things like message boxes would appear here as well. You'll see the user message box hive. So it's very granular, basically, in allowing you to customize what this package is going to do there on the endpoint. So I'm directory and file handling. I'm going to delete a specific file. And then here it's asking me for the file. So SW and then when SCP550.setup. .exe. Okay? And now what we'll see, I'm going to say OK. I've got 2 steps: install the package and then delete that file. And we'll go ahead and say next. And I've got my package. Again, I didn't give it the name, but it was just the new package, and we say finish. And now the last step, would we like to proceed with the distribution, i.e. targeting the endpoints to receive it? I'm just going to say no. And then what you end up with is under your package directories, we have that new package, and here it sits. So those are just a couple of aspects that I wanted to bring up with respect to the end-to-end asset management. Again, the core was understanding what we have in inventory, walking through how we build that, how we can put that on a schedule and see that going forward. That information is automatically populated to Service Core, so I end up with the latest and greatest information in my CMDB. And then some of the other aspects are day-to-day operations with respect to end-to-end asset management would be the distribution of software. It would also be the distribution of patches, operating systems, etc., the software compliance. But again, given the 30-minute time frame, those are topics that we'll cover in subsequent webinars.